I need a motion and a second to have the vote. Do we continue at this point? Understanding Greg's point, let's see how the vote comes out. We can take another look after that. Do I have a motion to proceed with the
We're
vote?
voting to have them preparing a 250 a time. Is that exactly what the motion's going?
Well, no, I thought we'd take a vote up front, see whether we have enough votes to go ahead and do it without that.
Oh, okay. I
In
misunderstood.
other words,
So you're talking about spending 1,250, not the 30,000.
The 30,000.
no, I'm talking about spending 30,000. In other words, are we comfortable enough? Even Greg, I understand where Greg's coming from, but I need a motion and a vote. Then we'll decide if we want to vote that down and we'll decide what we want to do. The
If we did 30,000, are the 5
Yes.
entities included?
Yes.
Yes.
Have
So-
they clearly defined that to me?
So I'm just talking it through. So in my mind, I think the 5 are a must do. So do we spend 31.25 or do we spend 30?
30.
30.
I mean, that's the question, what we're talking about.
Well, 'cause that's an extra charge you'd be spending for that.
If we don't do the 30.
If we, right, and then even after that, we're talking about delaying time to get 5 of the meetings set up. Get people to see that and everything like that, and then wait for feedback. We're just delaying our time frame. One of the reasons we've elected to extend the time frame is because it's pretty well spelled out, we couldn't get all this done in time to hit an election this spring. Even given the year process, we still have to go in front of the county commission to have them approve this and to go to an actual vote. So we're still only looking at about a 9-month time frame after everything's said and done to meet, starting at the tail end of this and moving backwards. We have a lot of education to do in the next 9 months. This is my personal opinion. And I want to get started on it as soon as we possibly can. And we can certainly do that. They're gonna make this
Can I ask
presentation.
a question?
Sure, Arlen, go ahead.
Yeah, I know that a number of us are planning to be at the county, I believe, next Wednesday. My understanding is to kind of have a roundtable on the discussion of economic development. I'm wondering if it might make sense, and I know I'm not a Port Authority board member, but maybe hold off on any decision until getting around the table with the county commission. I know Mike is their representative here today, and maybe even would ask Mike what his thoughts would be on that. I feel like we're a little bit of a crossroads with economic development as just a topic of general discussion here in Leavenworth County. I mean, and I guess I would say what I took away from today's presentation was an overwhelming support from our constituents for economic development. Just don't raise my taxes to do it. And so that's a conundrum. I mean, so for the education component, we're educating people to support economic development. I'm a little confused of the whole thing.
Well, I know part of that education, Harlan, would be us as the Port Authority, LCDC, also connected to HIP with us and everything, is educating exactly what we do. A lot of people don't understand what the Port Authority does. For instance, somebody brought up a point about essentially bang for the buck, so that we're transparent. Well, we can only be transparent up to a point anyway. If we're dealing with private entities that may take, as you well know, 3 or 4 years before you may actually get a business on the ground here, we're not allowed to discuss a lot of that. We can talk about this as, entity orange or entity blue or whatever the case may be. The public may want more details and we're not allowed to give them more details. Unfortunately, you're in this business, you know what I'm talking about. So what was,
Absolutely.
I'm not expecting nor am I hoping for every member of the committee to vote the same way. That's not what this committee is all about. I'm just trying to see whether we can't streamline it. Let's get to the next portion of what we need to do. The education, no question, has got to come. It's got to come, and we're going to have to do it. I'm just ready to get started. That's just my personal feeling. But I'm willing to acquiesce to whatever the team decides here.
Mike, what do you think the atmosphere of the county commissioners are? You got the new ones and you got the old ones. I don't know.
I think the roundtable is sitting down and discuss a lot of things, and let's throw it out there where it's at. LCDC is part of the feelings that the other county commissioners have in their plate after what just recently occurred. Right or wrong, it doesn't matter. So there's some really hard feelings. So to Harlan's point about having that sit down just to test the water is probably not a bad thing. Chairperson's absolutely right. I know I'm going back and forth. We need to get rolling. but I'd be afraid to get this going too fast and then we're going downhill and we can't slow down if we need to. We've got to get back with the county commissioners. I'm for it, putting it on the ballot, by the way. Getting with the county commissioners and making sure we got support there so we can fix some of the hard feelings or some of the problems. Just being honest, that they're sitting up there. I listen to them every day. Until we get that going, everything else we're doing here is gonna be tough. So chairperson said last week, we need to have a tough conversation and be very open about some things that are going on. And once we do that, I think you can go forward. But I think you're absolutely right last week when you said
But
that.
are we trying to sell this to the county commissioners, each individual city, or the voters?
We're trying to sell this to the voters as a whole.
We all want the best for Leavenworth County.
And what does county get? Cause they fund you, Port Authority? Is that
Up
why they
until
get
this
the,
year they have.
so that's why they get the big voice, not the cities?
No, everybody.
No cities get-
We-
Why are you going to county, not the cities?
Val-
Like, I've never heard any of this. Like, as my representative in the city, you should be coming to me and my commission and telling me about this.
Yes.
I've not heard about this.
And there's.
How do you know the city commission wants you to vote this way? Have you talked to us? Not at all.
This is
So
where
I think once-
transparency comes into play by going too fast about this and being able to
Right.
talk to the communities. That's why we
Right.
talked last week, that we go talk to the communities. You know, people can talk sideways. They're saying we're getting ahead of it. Yeah, you can get ahead of it with social media. But if you think that if the cities are against it, you can still go forward. But you've got to have them
Right.
because they were voted in by a lot of folks. Now, the people are gonna vote on this, but you've got to have the communities saying, yeah, I can bring up Tonganoxie and chicken. You know, if you do not have them buying in on it and everybody can see what's going on, this is gonna backfire on us.
Right.
No, I agree with everything said. That's one of the reasons the Port Authority, one is a volunteer organization. It's not elected or anything like that.
But
And
elected officials are on, every one of your people are elected
Yeah.
officials, except for the Leavenworth City. They're all elected in their partisan positions.
There are
Maybe
two,
one of you.
there are two, maybe three cities, Basner, Lansing, and Tonganoxie, that have currently setting city council members.
Right.
So it's gonna be us, you know, as being part of this board also, to go back and talk to our cities. And I know every month, talking to the city about what's going on.
We're not. I've not heard from you and I'm not.
Can I say, Mayor, to your point, I would like to say that these discussions started because the county decided to remove funding from both organizations.
Yes.
And I certainly can't speak for all of LCDC, but I think most people would say the city of Leavenworth has been an amazing partner. There's never been any question about the funding into the organization. So I would say, at least on my behalf, Holly, was no intention to withhold you or the city from this process. This was a process that was born out of a desire to replace county funding that's been communicated to the organizations, both organizations, that wasn't going to carry into 2026. And through a drastic cut in funding from the county side for 2025. And so that's why this started. Your points are very valid, but I have at least felt like, as in my capacity on the executive board of LCDC, that the cities, the communities have been great partners. And this was strictly a funding issue related to the county at this point. So, but to your point, maybe that supports Greg's comments earlier about, let's make sure we go out and tell all the communities what's going on, because to the point you just made, I'm honestly embarrassed that you have felt out of the loop, and that's on us.
Thank you.
At least I'll take it on me. I don't have to blame anybody else in the room.
We'll let you, Harlan. I'll take it for the, I've been taking it for the last 2 years anyway. That's why I think it's so important to visit with the communities, the elected folks. You know, I asked, when I took over chair 3 years ago, I asked to go around to the cities, and we did it. I took over chair again this year, and I asked again, all the cities are gonna have, every quarter, we're gonna ask and see if we can sit down and talk. That's all I'm saying about these 4 visits. You've gotta go talk to these elected people. Yeah, but the elected people can help bring this down the road, and then you go out to the larger things. But if you don't get the cities asking the tough questions, like you said last week, Chair, something like that, this is doomed to fail. I support getting this on a mail-in ballot when the time's right, I really do, but until we let everybody know, and I didn't even know Well, I wasn't aware of this, because I deal with it all the time in the county. I don't know with Baystar, well, we got reps, but somehow this message just isn't getting out there, and I think we need to sit down and go over it. Social media can kill us anyway. I mean, it can kill us anyway.
And last week, Mike, when I saw you at Baser, those kind of things help to influence the citizens of Baser. I mean, I'm one representative, I do what I can do, but when they see a coalition, when they see people coming together, then they'll say, hey, it's not just Vernon saying this, it's somebody else also out there saying this.
Well, the reason I came up though, they had to, they fed me. So that's the reason I came out there last time. But the thing about what you're saying, county commissioners have a big part. Every elected person is, but we should be talking to every city. We got our district, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be just talking that district. We gotta talk to everybody. I mean, it's like Maine, and when I see Holly or some people of Leavenworth, or I see you, Reverend, I see Dan all the time, and things like that. These are conversations we have to have, or it looks like we're divided, and that's what kill us.
And I know that, as a member of the Mid-America Regional Council, when I get my opportunity to talk, I'm not just talking about Baser, but I'm talking about the entire county. And they would hear me talk about the Port Authority.
You've done a good job, by the way, too.
Well, in 14 years, like 10, 12 years, but trying to make sure that Leavenworth County gets what it needs. So it's not just, we're not just doing that here in Leavenworth County, but the larger communities are also hearing what the Port Authority is doing, what LCDC is doing.
Absolutely.
I guess what I would ask when we're sitting here and is part of the reason we employed these people and we checked their background out before we did. We had opportunities and we chose Golden Shovel is because they can help us craft the messages to the local communities as well. Sitting me in front of it, I'd like to think I'm good enough, but I know I'm not. They're gonna help me craft that message when I go into the community setting, not just me, but everybody in the Port Authority, everybody in LCDC and everything, and how we decide as individual organizations and collectively to attack this problem. It does come down to fundings. We only have funding left for a couple of years, then we lose our staff. So this is something that's very important to us that we get this resolved. It's an 80-year organization, been staffed by volunteers for 80 years and everything, but it does require money from the county to do it.
Well, I don't support doing away with money. I'm like last year, I tried to keep it up to what it was, but I was only one vote. I don't support doing away, because I think what serves all the cities, and we're in it together. What's good in Tongi or Leavenworth is good for Lansing and Baser and everywhere else. But right now, I don't know if I'm a majority on that. I do believe though that getting out front of the people is the way we need to do it. I can't say what the county commissioners, we're not allowed to talk, except for one. I can't say what they're gonna vote on, but I don't support doing away. I think there's some problems we need to get together on and fix as far as we pay money directly. I didn't have a problem paying money directly to LCDC, to be honest with you. But they changed that a few years ago, which is unknown to me. I was the mayor of Lansing at the time. So there's some things that need to be worked out that are bubbling, I think, before we can jump on this. But I think everybody in this room really knows this would be a good thing. It'd help all of us. And it would definitely help the county, because then we got another funding stream, which we used to set aside years ago. But it used to be a mill levy or something before years ago, and that's gone away. So I'm a big believer in economic development. I'm just asking, how do we get there?
I wanted to ask what people thought the advantage was to having Golden Shovel present to the agencies. I think you all should be presenting to the agencies.
Well, and that was my preference as well. I have a great deal of respect, and I feel like the odd man out. I'm a simple pharmacist. That's all I am.
You're not simple, you keep me in drugs.
Unlike other members of the committee that are bankers or business owners and everything like that, I'm somewhat of, I've got a background, but that's not what I am now. I'm a retired pharmacist. But the whole idea is I'm gonna be one of the people talking to the people in that particular regard. I've got no vested interest
But
in a piece of land, a building or something like that. My idea is to help them educate what LPA does, what LCDC does.
Yeah.
And actually to relieve some of this pressure off the county commission. And much like I was speaking about earlier, there's a lot of things that we can't talk about even through this process. These kids here do a great job dealing with these outside organizations. They do a great job of having new businesses come in. This may be a 4 to 5 or 6 year process before we get a business to actually settle in the county. So there's a lot of things we can't talk about.
Right.
But bring a business here, what do you got for me? This is where we're the point person. That's all we do. That's all we do. That's all this organization has done for 80 years. But to some of your questions, for instance, the business park we sit in now was given to us a number of years ago. I don't see that happening anytime soon. Okay, people may complain or they look at Tonganoxie, look at the growth that's happening in Tonganoxie. Tonganoxie as a city has paid for a lot of that growth. So
Let me ask this though. Let me ask this. To this point, let me ask you. We have a group of people, we have a group of people.
Sun's coming out a little bit, a little windy, but
I'm sending out. Hey Greg, can you mute your microphone? Yeah, that way you can hear.
If we had a group of people, say, this to me reminds me of a school bond. You know, they get together, they get the people in line, they get the experts who like that, but it's the citizens that do it. If you had a group that a citizen from Leavenworth, Lansing, talking on it, and they presented together. After it's all, if they all agree on it, and they went together and presented this shows a teamwork from everybody, and that's sales. I don't know what the 30,000, I guess I'm not disagreeing, I'm not knowing what that 30,000 gets me that we can't do ourselves.
well, they're gonna craft the message to deliver to our community, to deliver to our constituents.
Is it
We didn't
$1,000
feel
a
as
letter?
We didn't feel as a group that all of us combined didn't have the ability to.
And that may be
craft
true,
our
don't get me
message.
wrong, if that's what they wanted to do to come in and make the presentation, but.
Well, we first hired him to see if this was even.
Exactly, and I thought that was great.
And then,
I
so here we are.
I understand the concept of having them craft the message, but I think the Port Authority should be the one delivering the message.
In a heartbeat, I agree with you completely. All we're calling this special meeting for today was to go ahead, now that we've seen the results, which were not unexpected.
Right.
Okay, these results were not unexpected. They told us exactly what I believe everybody would have seen up front. There were few surprises. And where they were able to connect the dots where maybe we didn't, is we have the ability to take this message here and change it to a positive. This is not something they haven't seen before.
Right.
They can help us craft those messages, but they're not the ones that are gonna go to the organization. We are. It's our responsibility. It's LCDC's responsibility. It's our responsibility to go.
Then I guess I misunderstood Greg's question.
Yeah,
'Cause
no.
It sounded like he was asking them to attend these meetings and.
Well, and I think he was asking them to give this.
We need to get buy-in from everybody else.
That's right, but it doesn't mean that everybody here is gonna agree on how we do it.
Right.
Even no matter how this vote turns out today, I'm gonna support whatever the group supports
Me too.
in that particular regard, because that's what we do.
Yep.
We didn't expect 10 or 6-0 votes all the time.
Golden Shovel can answer all the questions of how they did the survey and all the analytics behind it.
Right.
But what they aren't gonna be able to address is when the cities, whichever one, pick one, doesn't matter which one, they're gonna start jumping to the solution. Well, how are you gonna do this? And what does that reflect? And how does that mean to my citizens of my area? They're not gonna be able to answer that. That's still gonna take the Port Authority.
That's us, but they're gonna craft our message or help us craft our message. That's all, and that's all we need to get back on point here, because we're about ready to run out of time.
One point, sir. It's not only gonna take the Port Authority, but also community members that are in support of, because I could think of 4 or 5 different people in the Bayesian area that could come together with me and Golden Shovel to be able to make that presentation.
And that's what we were trying to get started.
And that's what we're trying to get started, and that's what other 30,000 helps us do. And that eventually, leads to a second poll. Have we moved the numbers? There's no sense going to Mike and his crew down there and say, hey, let's vote for this. And one of the reasons, for instance, we're doing this as a mail-in ballot as opposed to a regular one, it stands a greater chance of success.
Always does.
To his point earlier that he brought up, there is money for economic development coming from each of the cities now that would go into that, so that they wouldn't have to submit those taxes. But they would come into that fund there directly from the city, so they wouldn't have to pay that because it's already been paid.
Well, terminology, it wouldn't come into it, the cities wouldn't be paying into it, the cities could decrease,
Right.
and that's what I call offsetting. The cities would decrease what they would normally fund, and it would be replaced by this new tax.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, can we get back to it now? Sorry, we have to.
Hey, you're doing good, go ahead.
I need a motion and I need a second, whether we're gonna have a vote today with regard to spending the other 30,000, help them prepare the message that we're gonna put out, help us prepare the message that we're gonna put out. Having said that, all those other things can certainly happen regardless. But the question is, do we move forward? Do we help Golden Shovel help us start building your campaign to help us craft our message so we can make this successful 9 months from now, because that's literally our time frame.
We do it now or after the county commission meeting?
I vote, let's vote for it now, and then if we have to do, then if that's not successful, we'll vote. We can't set up a vote after that necessarily unless everybody can take, I'm worried about the time frame.
Yeah.
That it's taking all you guys away from your businesses and everything. I can make myself available, but I won't vote.
Yeah.
But let's see how the vote falls out here, then ask that question. Does that sound reasonable? Okay. I need a motion in a second, first of all.
Okay, so what?
So we move forward with stage 2 of the golden shovel.
Yes,
Somebody make that motion.
to move forward with.
And what is in the 30,000? That is the, so-called education campaign to get us to the point where we can submit an application for a mail-in ballot, basically.
That's
But does that also include educating, going to each of these entities?
Yes.
As well as
That's part of it.
Yeah, we're gonna do
That's
that.
included.
We're gonna do that.
I just wanna make sure there's not gonna be another bill down the road.
No, she was right on point in the sense that we're gonna do that. They're just gonna help us craft the message. They were willing to go to each of those if we were insistent to, but I'm not sure the message that they were gonna give them might have been lost.
Yeah. And I,
Just to re-explain.
and I would just, when you vote, that means there's gonna be participation in the port authorities among this membership to be present as well to answer any additional questions that's not in their realm.
That's right, that's exactly, and they're not gonna be going there. We're gonna be going there. We're gonna be going, so,
I guess I'd also like to say, we were just talking that maybe make sure that you understand the education campaign would include those meetings, those presentations, but also like social media along, using the message that they help craft for us.
Right.
For the Port Authority.
They're giving us the marketing materials. That's what they're making.
But they're not gonna be monitoring social media and giving the answers.
No.
But they're-
We would be doing all of that.
Okay. I'm with you, so I understand.
And I assume some PowerPoint that we can go to whoever it is, Lions Club, whoever, and make a presentation
Yes.
Everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
to,
all of these, all the little screens up there that I couldn't read from here anyway, and I saw it before. We can make those available so you can see every one of the questions that was asked and the answers that came from it and everything like that. So once again, in the essence of time, let's get this vote out of the way, then we can talk about what we do next.
Well, I think I'm gonna make the motion. Motion is to expend the $30,000 to move forward with phase 2 of Golden Shovel.
Second,
Were you making the second or are you
I
asking? for a
can't
second?
ask, no, as a chair, I can't do that.
I'll second it.
Okay? All in
do
favor?
we have a quorum? We have, well, Greg's on there?
Yeah.
He left.
He left.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well,
We got five.
Still got
Three,
me.
Five.
You got five.
We got five.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 It's 2-2.
Well, I'm just cheap. 30,000 seems like a lot of money for what we're getting, but I don't want this to die on the thing either, so.
I don't, why can't we wait another week?
That's what I asked.
You know, I'm more leaning towards that. I feel more comfortable after we get through.
Cause who knows what's gonna happen next week?
That's exactly
To me,
right.
I'd feel a lot more comfortable if we just wait.
And I don't mind a special meeting when you're coming in. I know y'all work, but I'd feel more comfortable.
Well, but
if see
we
what's
can
coming.
vote by email.
What I-
And I was
What I
also
hear is
under
no.
the understanding that if we voted to pass today, that we can vote to decline later on.
Vote what?
No, that's not what I said.
No.
No,
Okay.
I think the point we'll take, and I prefer to hear what,
I'd just be more comfortable with the whole
I would,
situation if we aired all of our,
yes,
I don't wanna say grievances,
well,
but
that's true.
we all gotta be on the same page.
I agree, and I think that's the best way to,
It's very clear we gotta do something,
oh, I don't have a
and
problem.
I'm not disagreeing that this isn't the right thing to
I'm
do.
not
It's-
either. I think you guys are on the right track, well, all of us on the right track. I'm just saying, I'm trying to lay some groundwork before we kick this off, and I think meeting next week with those county commissioners would help, get that after we get all this out of our system. That's all I'm saying.
But did we open it? We had some objections from Spitten about that. She's not gonna feel included if we're meeting with the county commissioners, you know what I'm saying? We're not opening all of that up in that particular.
Well, I don't mind who shows up, but I think what's dealing with the county commissioners is this board, Port Authority board and the county commissioners themselves working out some other things we've got to work out first. That's.
Well, I think the main issue, and Leavenworth can be included, is what is the best option for economic development through all the, what's the best
And that will come,
spend of the money?
that will come out after we have our first little.
Yeah.
Going through with them, and then the second part of the meeting will be, I think, be that. But I think we need to get some things on the table, get that behind us, and then go forward. I think what y'all are doing, and I know I just came on, is the correct way to go about doing it. You know, I hate spending $30,000. Geez, that's a lot of money.
Is it possible to rescind my motion?
Certainly.
Sure.
Well, we were 2 and 2, so it didn't pass. So
Yeah.
It hadn't passed.
That was, right.
No, it was 2 and 2. He was the holdout.
No longer.
I thought Doug.
He can't vote.
Doug can vote.
Doug can vote.
Yeah. Well, that was-
He voted.
Oh, it's
It's 3-2.
So it's 3-2 then.
I honestly feel that we do need to hear from the county commission. I honestly feel that, so I don't know if I can rescind a past motion.
Let's have that meeting first.
Yeah.
It's 1 week away.
I didn't make the motion.
No, so it would be me,
Withdrawing.
because I withdraw, because I really wanna hear what the county commission is at. Then we need to, and we can move forward, and if they come, here I go, if the county commission come half stepping, then we just need to go ahead and move forward with what we're gonna do.
As a point of order, if you follow procedures, you didn't have discussion before you voted. So your motion is not exactly, your vote is not technically legal yet.
All right,
You had discussion after the vote. You should have discussion before you vote.
so all good, so
I
we're clear.
don't know if you follow Robert's rules of order, but that's the way it has to go with
Yeah, we
that
do.
motion
Somewhat.
passed.
Yeah, we do, so it's all done, right?
Okay,
No, you have to have, you send
Yeah, because,
No, we're
because Doug didn't ask for
discussion.
the vote.
So it was an invalid vote.
Well, just rescind it. Both of
Yeah,
them.
rescind,
We'll rescind it.
rescind,
Okay, I'll rescind my second. You rescind your motion.
yeah.
The vote never occurred.
Yeah.
Now, when do we meet next week? Is 12th at what time?
That's what I was gonna say before I left.
Your Board of County Commission meeting starts at 9.
Yeah, so it's at 9.
And so it would be-
I've got a couple things on there too for the work session. I think we're set up for a work session, as I recall.
Mhm.
I've got a couple things on there that may take a little bit, but
10 o'clock.
just enjoy. No, I don't know. You never know. You just never know. We got a fire department thing coming up there, and that usually can get a little heated with first, I'd 9:30. I think we can move around.
I'll
just
be
guessing.
there for the fun and games before that, so.
Yeah.
And we just
Once
did
again,
it.
But it
I'm
starts
a
at 9.
volunteer that's not working right now, so
Yeah.
everybody else is, and I don't intend to go back to work, but everybody else has got other obligations.
Yes.
So I'm-
I'll be there, you'll be there. Will everybody be there?
So 9:30, county commission.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to more people you got there.
Lisa?
Oh, yeah, I'll be there.
Is married at one time.
Very well.
Very good, watch these plans.
You gotta be on the floor.
Yeah, she's the keeper.
What day?
Brian, are you coming?
March 12th,
Okay.
next Wednesday.
And we're not excluding anybody, if the rest of your chair.
No, everybody plans on being there. Don't worry. Everybody plans on being there.
We'll pack
Is
the
there-
house.
They have been told to be there. There's no option.
Well, we don't need to, we need to keep it on
Executive
focus on what we're there.
Well, I intend to.
'Cause we can get
I mean,
off
we have a
track.
council
I'll
meeting
try
this
as a
week. I'm
chair,
gonna
but
tell them
it may get off
If they're
track.
interested, they need to come.
Well, we'll,
So I just want
before we have this vote next week, we will adjourn to a private chamber somewhere. So it's just the people that can vote can do that. Is that-
What do you mean, at the courthouse?
Find somewhere, I mean,
As soon as the meeting's over, I'm available. I just gotta get to the meeting.
okay,
to.
well, we have
I
that,
won't be here on the 12th.
What's that?
I won't be here on the 12th, so that's why I'm looking at my calendar.
Always on Wednesday.
I know Wednesdays are just tough. So but there'll still be enough. It should still be enough.
Yeah, I should. Okay.
since it's kind of an off book meeting, not off book, but I guess a special meeting and everything, I just need a movement then to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Good job, folks.